Give it up for Chris Santiago.
Nervous, a little bit on edge, not because of the sold out show, it's just you can't see back here, but there's a guy that's just like, it's a little unprofessional. Is that what it's like to do shows here? No. Nobody's there. It's just me projecting my insecurities and weakness again. I was just wondering if we could increase my presence just a little bit. Can we increase the presence? This is a big moment for me. All right, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm giving off a lot of nervous energy. But that's nothing a little music can't fix, am I right? Hit me! That's nothing a little music can't fix. Hit me! Okay, we're just gonna deal with this weakness then. And honestly, I feel like we should be celebrating weakness, don't you? Right? Because weakness is far more entertaining than strength ever was. Like, that's 100% true. No one's ever watched American Ninja Warrior and thought to themselves, I really want that frail, short guy to succeed. Right now, we're all watching it because we want to watch that guy's life story of surviving the Iraq War, 3 bouts of cancer, and the death of 2 sons with the same names. Taking that first leap, weighed down by all those hopes and dreams, as he hits his neck and pummels down into a pool of his ghost wife's tears. Yeah, that's why you watch it. That's why you watch it, right? Like, because you're all sinners in the hands of an angry, angry God. That's not how I watch it. I watch that show while praying. Like, praying that all those things will happen to that guy with the Post Malone neck tattoo. Or like that guy from Post Malone. What's his name? Mr. Post? Yeah, I am pure in heart and sinless. So I'll cast the first stone. Alright. No. I guess, no, I'm not really that sinless or pure. Quick confession, I guess. I just recently found out that I have a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old marriage to my wife. Did I say it weird? I'm not like a calendar math genius. And also like a 12-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. And I think I love them? I don't know. I just reached this point in my life where I feel like I could just use a phone call from like a police officer just saying, sir, sit down. Your whole family has perished in a horrible car accident. They're on a road trip right now. But just like by mistake, because sometimes I feel like I need a little love boost to just remind myself that I appreciate, the messes they leave for me as like a love offering, that I have to clean up. All right, well, okay, I don't know if you're like the clean one or the messy one in your relationship, but I've got a test. If you don't know, you're not the clean one. I don't actually understand people that are the messy ones in their relationship and are also afraid of being killed in an ISIS terrorist attack, or any terrorist attack, because you are sleeping with someone who is plotting your specific murder each and every single night in absolute detail. And that's like the original sleeper cell, right? Only messy people, you're sleeping, and the other person is trapped in a physical and emotional cell that you created for them, and somebody's gotta die. Like, it's true. I'm realizing that like putting that back to back makes it sound like I want to murder my family. No, that's not true. I really love being a husband. I love being a father because it's the most fulfilling thing. The Bible tells me there is for a man. It's a lot of weight to carry. I take my responsibility as a father very seriously, and I feel like part of my job is to be able to answer any and every question that my kids have with like complete confidence, And they ask a ton of questions. So my son once asked me, he's like, "Dad, what do you think was the world's least significant war?" And I'm like, Iraq War, that's the only one I know. Iraq War. And he's like, I think it's the War of 1812. He's not fun. Still deciding if I like him. But my daughter, we were walking on Irving Park and all the high school kids were getting out of Lakeview High School. And my daughter is like, "Dad, did you see that teenage girl's boobs bouncing all over the place? Why did they do that? She is incorrigible." And I was just like, number one, no. Number two, seriously, to you, I didn't look. But like, I had to answer it, so I was just like, okay, if women's breasts were rock hard, they would damage your chassis, sort of like shocks on a car, right? I don't know a lot about women, but I know like a little bit about cars. Tires, air, windows, air, 91.5 NPR fresh air. That's all I know. Window wipers are like blinking. It's hard having a family. It's exhausting, really. It is pretty tiring. And but you know what else is really tiring and exhausting is all this rhetoric saying that people like me are not real Americans. Like I just want to say to all those people, can you even name the first 13 presidents of the United States and like point out, I don't know, like 13 states on an unlabeled US map? Like can you? And I bet you the answer is no. I bet it's no. And you know what? Me neither, because I too are educated by this country's public schooling system, like a true American. And my ignorance, it knows no bounds. My ignorance knows no state capitals. My ignorance knows not the difference between Kate Blanchett and Tilda Swinton. And my ignorance knows not the difference between Marshalls and TJ Maxx. Why are they so close together? They're the same store. And we all know, actually, that the only people able to answer the aforementioned quiz are foreigners. Because foreigners are the only ones willing to research and study and understand the geopolitical world around them in order to fully comprehend it, which is patently un-American. Facts. This country does not run on facts. I think we're all coming to learn this country runs on strong feelings, am I right? So sorry. Don't you hate it when you get the national anthem stuck in your head? It's like, get out of there, not right now, anthem. That only happens to true patriots. Well, I think I have a solution to racism in this country. And I think it's the power of film. Cinema. Because in movies, you can experience other worlds. You can see other people's struggles, experience other cultures, Sort of like books, but like less pretentious and, let's admit it, fun. And when they're not fun, I mean, a lot harder to burn, But I don't think are gonna save people from racism. Like, I don't think Crazy Rich Asians is gonna save us from racism. It's not gonna save Asians from racism for sure. Like, I was at this bar, North Bar, a couple weeks ago, and a guy looked at me, and then he turned and did Asian eyes and started laughing to his friend across the room. And that guy was my white friend, so I don't have a lot of hope when it comes to strangers, you know? But like, it's happened to me before. I was on the bus, and a guy looked at me, then he looked away to his friend and was like, "Oh, could use some Chinese food." I was like, "Oh," because after he said it, I also wanted Chinese food. Am I doing anger wrong? Am I doing mad right? One last question that my daughter asked me was, "Dad, what was your greatest fear when you were my age?" You know? And I was like, well, getting lost in the dark forest at night, you know, which I think is a pretty typical kid fear. And I'm like, why? What's yours now? You know? And she's like, well, a guy holding like a long needle, putting it through my cheeks, into my shoulder, through my forearm, into my thigh, and through my foot. I was like, thank you for giving me a new fear I didn't know I had. Like, on top of my fear of failing as a husband and failing as a father. So, thank you so much. I'm Chris Santiago. Bye.